Guys, it's Chelsea and today I am making another advice-driven story time video. Josh is in the back. I have a shirt that I had to hand wash. I don't know how to hand wash shirts, so I just put like a stain remover on where the stain was and then like wet it. I didn't know what I was doing. So anyway, just to address all what's going on in the background. But yeah, so today I actually filmed this video before. Really, bro? I actually filmed this video before and I don't know, it wasn't really going anywhere, so I was like, all right, let me think about it some more and then refilm it. This is not some like cute story about, ooh, me and my friend, we went to college and roomed together and then things turned bad and blah, blah. No, this is a story about rooming with a complete random stranger that I did not even meet until we were literally living together. I just want to talk to you guys about it because I think it's kind of important to kind of room with someone random in your life, or not necessarily completely random, but maybe someone you don't really know too well, because it really teaches you a lot about yourself and other people and learning boundaries and accepting people that are maybe different than you. And I don't know, like I just kind of learned a lot from it. I'm glad I went through it. I don't really want to room with anyone random again. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of tell you this sort of story time video about rooming with a rando in college and how it went for me. So basically, the college that I went to is like an hour away from my house. And I dormed there for my freshman year. I was super excited, and there was one girl that I knew, and I'm so glad I did not room with her. My whole college experience would have probably been totally different. I was gonna room with her, but she'd already put in her application. So basically how it works is you put in your application. Like if you're gonna dorm on campus, this is at least how it worked at my college. You put in your application, and then if you already have a specific person that you want to room with, you put like their student number or whatever and like their first and last name. But if you don't, then you go to a questionnaire and fill it out, and they match you with someone. And when we took the tour and everything, they were like, this system is flawless. Like you'll get paired with someone that may not be your best friend, but will be a really good friend, like all this stuff. And I was like, okay, like this sounds good. Anyway, so the summer before is basically when you found out who you were rooming with, and basically I got an email from the school. It said, we've picked your roommate and this is her contact information. It gave me her email and her phone number, and literally as I'm looking at that, I get a text message from her and I'm like, oh my gosh. So we immediately exchange social media, and I was looking at her Instagram and stuff, and she definitely seemed different. Like she had a photo of her with this like Star Wars like mask thing on. Like she was definitely different. Like I don't know, her photos were different, and but anyway, and she was out of town, and then it turns out she was from Pennsylvania. And yeah, so we started talking. When I was asking like more about her, she did not have air conditioning and she did not have Wi-Fi. Because we were talking about just like, oh, what are you most excited for? And she was like, well, I don't have air conditioning, and I've never had Wi-Fi. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, I guess up north it's more normal because it doesn't get as hot as it does down here to just use like ceiling fans and stuff, like not having to spend money on air conditioning. But I just thought that it was just different, you know what I mean? And then she said she didn't have Wi-Fi, and I was like, what, do you just use data? Or like, it was just weird. It was just different. Like I've never met anyone from Pennsylvania, or I don't really know a lot of people that are from up north. Like most of my friends were born and raised in Florida, and we all have this like similar growing up kind of thing, whereas, you know, she grew up without Wi-Fi, without air conditioning, and she was just telling me about like she doesn't like sweet tea, and she doesn't like grits, and like all these things that are like a lot of people down here like. So it was just different, okay? But I was fine with it. You know, when people were like, oh, are you excited? I was like, she seems nice, but definitely I could tell there was some differences between us. And that was basically it until the first day. And me and her were talking about like planning to buy things. Like she was like, oh, I already got a great deal on a fridge, and my mom already gave me a microwave. And I was like, okay, I'll get the more aesthetic things like a rug, and I ended up buying us a futon and I brought like a little vacuum. Like I bought the kind of necessities, or no, she bought the necessities and I bought the non-necessities, but she, I guess, already had all that planned out because she didn't know, she signed up for either single or with a roommate, so she wasn't sure, so she just bought everything already. And yeah, so in the beginning she seemed like a very even, like easygoing, you know, like she took responsibility for her stuff, I'd do mine, and it was fine. So she seemed like a pretty even person at that time, like even with like distributing things or like whatever, like rooming with someone, she seemed like it was gonna be good. Okay, so then move-in day comes. I'm so nervous to meet her, you guys. I was not even nervous about moving like to college and all that kind of stuff. I was just so nervous about living with someone that wasn't my parents. Like my whole life I had only lived with my parents and my sister. I have athletes, at least at my college, help bring your stuff in. Like the athletes moved there previously, like maybe a couple weeks before, and we all moved in and all the athletes helped us, so they brought all my stuff in. And we're just getting all my stuff in and my family's there, and then all of a sudden more stuff's coming in, like more athletes. I'm like, oh, that's not my stuff. Oh my god, my roommate's here. Like she literally got there like a second after I did. We must have been in the parking lot at the same time. I just didn't notice her. And I see her. Let's call her, what should I call her? I don't know why the name Pixie is coming to my mind, because that's so opposite from her name, but we're gonna call her Pixie, okay? So Pixie's stuff starts rolling in, and all of a sudden it's her, and it's her and her mom, and I'm like, oh my god. And she looked so much better in person than she did on her social media, and obviously like there was a little bit of prejudgment, like I'm not gonna lie, like she had some weird photos, just not like selfies and like cute things she's done, just like a piece of grass or like some weird stuff. So finally seeing her in person, she looked like a normal, nice human being. She had blonde hair. I was like, yes. And automatically we just hit it off. Like I felt like things were good. So then everything settles, my family leaves, her family leaves, we like went to dinner, we like hung out with our families that day, and then they left, and it's just me and her, and I felt like we were similar but different. It was very extremely like academic. She was like, yeah, I got put on the Harvard waiting list. I didn't get in, but I got put on the waiting list, so blah blah blah. Like she was very academic, and although like I love to learn, I am not someone that is like OMG, like I just want to learn everything. Like no, like I like to have fun too, you know? But she seemed like a very like on the books kind of person, so we were different but the same. And the first week we were kind of just doing our own thing. We were hanging out with the friends that we had made previously, and we both actually hit a point where I think we realized that the friends that we had made during our tours, during our little, they had like a little weekend, like the new people like early in the summer got to stay a weekend and get to know the campus a little more. So I did that, and that's how I met some more people that I hung out with the first week, and they all turned out being shitty. And I think the same thing happened to her. So we were kind of both in the same boat, and we actually started hanging out a lot. We went to Chipotle a lot. We actually made a friend, and it's so funny because me and this kid are like really good friends, and it's all kind of because of her. We were wanting to check out, each floor of our dorm had a lounge, and we wanted to go check it out, and I think we knew there was a vending machine, so we wanted to go get a drink or something. So we go down there, and on our way back we notice a guy and his swipe thing isn't working to like get into the building, and she's like, no, let's go help him, let's go help him. And I was like, nah, leave him there, you know what I mean? Like I was just like, you know, me and my roommate were bonding, and I was like, but we went and helped him, and I actually ended up becoming really good friends with him. At the beginning it looked like she was gonna be better friends with him, but she kind of just started blowing people off, so that's why me and him became really good friends. And so I do have her to thank for that. So me, her, and the guy, and what's it called? Then we made some other friends. Anyway, we were all like hanging out and doing all these things together. It was actually a lot of fun, and I was like, wow, like this girl's really cool. We definitely have our differences, but she's really cool. So that was fall semester. Spring semester hits, and my two really good friends decided to transfer back because it was too expensive and all sorts of other reasons. But anyway, so it's kind of just like me and her, and I don't really have a lot of friends, so I'm like in the dorm a lot, and this is where things start to go to shit, honestly. Like this is where the true her, I guess, started to come out. She stopped, like, we basically agreed on a lot of things, like supplies and stuff for the dorm, like cases of water and stuff. We were gonna switch off. One week I'd buy, next week she'd buy. And she just started to get really like selfish and greedy. Like I was buying water every week. I was buying paper towels and plates and food, and she was eating my food, and she was drinking all the fucking water. And I'd come in and each of her friends would have a water, and I'd be like, what the fuck? Like, you're not paying for that water. But I didn't want to cause any problems. And that's the thing, like, it's hard to bring shit up because you live with that person. So if anything goes wrong, it's just like super awkward. And so she starts doing that. I bought this futon. Basically, this girl had to move back home. She lived in like Africa or something, so she couldn't bring anything with her back. So she was just selling everything. So I bought this futon, and I swear to God, she used it more than I did. I left every weekend because my boyfriend and my family were only an hour away, and it was just like, I just wanted to be home, honestly, especially this spring semester. Like, I really wasn't happy there. So, and I would come home and she would just have all her shit like all over her. Someone would be passed out on it, like one of her friends, or they'd be having, if I came home like later in the night, she'd have like a movie night with all them on it. And it was just like a lack of respect for space, you know what I mean? And I felt like she loved that I went home every weekend because she had the dorm to herself and my shit would be moved. And that was my one thing. Like, I told her, just don't touch my shit. Even if you're the meanest fucking person, I will fucking deal with you as long as you don't touch my shit. You start touching my shit, I have OCD, it fucks with me. Like, I cannot deal with it. And she was like eating my food and shit. And I was like, no, 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 no. This is where we're gonna have a problem. And oh my God, the friends that she made, like her first friends were cool. The new friends she made were like valedictorian types, like super, super into the books, really not about partying. And she was like in the middle, like she was like me, where like she would go to class, but like she wanted to have a good time after class. These people were like stuck, like they literally had a book on them at all times, just like stuck up kind of. Like, there's those people that are like, that don't want to party, and that's okay, and they just want their education, they want to go home. But these people were like stuck up about it. And I remember we were like drinking one night in our dorm, like me and my friends, literally the most casual thing. We're not even acting fucked up, we're just like chilling, having a drink and playing some drinking game. And she comes in with them, and they're just all sitting around just talking shit about us, and they think we're drunk, and that we don't understand what they're saying or something. Like, I don't know what they thought, but they were just talking shit. They're like, wow, like how embarrassing, or like blah 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 blah. And she was like agreeing with them, and I was like, if my friends started to be shitty towards you like that, I would be like, shut the fuck up. Like, they're just having a good time. It's like a Friday fucking night, and you guys have your little backpacks, and like fucking A, like, welcome to college, like have a good time, you know? So she just started to get super judgmental. She wasn't helping with anything, and basically by the end we grew apart. Like, we used to be in the dorm a lot at the same time, and I feel like we both kind of planned it that way so we could like hang out. And I stopped seeing her. Like, I would invite her to go to Chipotle because I didn't have a lot of friends. Like, the spring semester I was alone by myself a lot, or FaceTiming with Josh. And I would be like, hey, you want to go to Chipotle this Thursday? Like, I would try and plan it out. And never, she'd be like, oh, I'm busy, or oh, I don't have the money. That was her huge thing. She's like, I don't have any money. And it turns out she did have money. She just didn't want to touch it, which is like, whatever, but just tell me the truth, you know? Because then, like, she'd be like, I don't have any money, like, I can't go. And then the next day, she'd like have bought some bag at the gift shop or something, and I was like, bitch. Anyway, so yeah, things just went super downhill, and basically by the end of the whole experience, we didn't really talk. Literally the day I moved out, because I moved out sooner than her because I live closer, so I got my shit out of there as soon as I was done with my last exam. I was like, Mom, Dad, get over here, I'm fucking over this place. And they came, and I was just like, bye, and I wanted to like hug her or something. She did not even get off her fucking bed. She just sat there, bye. I was like, bitch, like literally we have lived together for like a year, and you're just gonna, not like a full year, but like, you know, like a full college year, we'll say, minus the summer semester. And I was just like, bitch, like she just did not give a fuck. She was very about herself more than me. Like, I'm about myself, but I give a shit, and I care about other people. I care about my relationships with other people. She just did not give a shit. Like, I don't know what happened. I think it was her new friends really started influencing her to hate me because they didn't really like me because I was different because I wasn't like, oh my God, like, you know, studying all the time and stuff. Like, you know, you gotta have a life too. Like, it's important to study, it's important to get your education and do well in your classes, but like, have a good time too. Like, there's another part of college for a reason, you know? And so they didn't like me, and I feel like they influenced her to be that way too. And she just, it's really sad. Like, it honestly is, because the first semester was so great. She was so cool. She was so fun. Had lots of good times. She had her flaws, but I mean, when she just stopped paying for shit and was still like, I even had a conversation with her. I was like, we agreed to switch off buying water. Like, I really, like, I blew through $1,000 in the first 3 months I lived there. And I was like, I can't afford to keep getting water. Like, please. Like, I was so fucking thirsty, you guys. Oh my God. And I like had a conversation with her, and she would still, like, if I bought a pack of water, she would still fucking drink it. And I was like, bitch. I finally bought like this little container and put the water in there and fucking locked it. And I was like, I swear to God, if her and her friends like use the shit out of her, like use the shit out of us, like we had little pizza pockets in the freezer and they fucking ate them all, like just inconsiderate ass shit. And it's so funny because she started out not being that way, and I don't know what happened. I guess she just stopped giving a fuck. And yeah, so that's basically what having a college roommate was for me. I'm glad it happened though. I really am. It taught me a lot. Like, it taught me a lot about living with someone that you don't really know, and about like respecting others and others' boundaries, and also dealing with someone that you don't really like. And oh my God, but it's just a shame. Like, I really feel like if she didn't meet those people and didn't turn into that type of person, me and her would have gotten along like really well. And I would still have a friend, but I do not talk to her. I deleted her off of all social media. I want nothing to do with her. I was such a good roommate, such a good friend to her. Like, I took care of her when she would like overdrink and all this stuff, and I'd always make sure she was back, and I would go get her food if she was like, it's important if you're like really, really drunk to eat before you go to sleep, or else you'll probably wake up with a hangover and a really sick stomach. I would go to the caf. She got super fucked up once, went to the caf, got her some food, made her eat, and she was like, oh my God, thank you so much. And it's just like all of that was overlooked because I wasn't good enough anymore at the end. So I don't know if you guys can tell, but my voice is like going out. It's barely even holding on right now. So anyway, I'm gonna cut it off here. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. At the end of the day, just there's not much advice I can really give on this except for just try and know the person. Or I don't know, I would probably recommend rooming with someone you know at least a little bit better. Like, literally, me and this girl were complete strangers, not even from the same place, absolutely nothing. But I do know some people, actually, honestly, everyone I know that roomed with someone that they didn't know at all, like, weren't in the same major. Some schools will room you by major and stuff like that, like, but everyone I know that got roomed randomly ended up not really being friends with their random roommate at the end of the year. Now that I think about it, all those people, yeah, they all hate each other. Like, same thing. They like would respect each other because they live with each other, but at the end of the day when they were apart, it was just shit talking all day. Anyway, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you've roomed with a random person, or if you have a roommate story or anything down below. I'll see you guys next time, and bye-bye.